I'm going to walk through using the FPSController, which comes with the standard assets by Unity. And this controller, the purpose of it is to simulate motion in a 3D environment. And when I hit play, I'll show you what it does. So I essentially get a camera rig, and I can move around, and I can walk, and I have footsteps, and I can jump. So it simulates what you would experience in a first-person shooter type game, but we're just going to use it as sort of a proxy for a Steam VR camera. So the reason for this is Steam VR runs on Windows machines, and you're probably developing your world on a Mac. So what you can do is use this camera and build your world and place objects in it, and not have to worry too much about dealing with the Steam VR camera yet. And so if I just make another object here, you can see I can have another object and I can kind of walk around my world. So I'm going to walk through building this and including the controller from scratch. So let me quit Unity, so you don't save, and open up Unity Hub. And so from here, what you want to do is, I'm using the latest 2019 version of Unity, so 2019.4.20 F1, and I'm just going to build a new project using that version. And you pick 3D scene, and I'll call this My World. And I'm just going to save it in a folder on my desktop. So I'll create that project. And once this comes up here in Unity, I can go through including the standard assets package. So here's my scene, it's empty. I'm going to go ahead and add a couple objects. First I'm going to add a cube, and then I'm going to add a plane. So the plane will act as my ground, and the cube will just act as an object that I can see in my world here. So I'm going to sort of move it over. So it's just a really basic setup. And I have my main camera here, so if I hit play, I can of course see my 3D scene. But what we want to do is include a different kind of camera so we can actually navigate our 3D space easily. So under the asset store, I can find all kinds of assets, and the one I want to look up is called the Unity Standard Assets. So if I go in here and I search Standard Assets, it will come up, and it looks like this. If you've never included it, yours will ask you to download it here, but since I've included it before, it'll just say import. But this package includes all kinds of assets that you can use in games and 3D experiences. So there's car models, airplane models, kind of prototyping blocks for building levels like this, and more. So you can go down and kind of learn about what's in it and look at the file structure, but we're just going to click import. So what this will do is copy all the files that I select here from this dialog into my assets folder in a folder. So we're not going to go into every asset, but I'm just going to go ahead and click import. And what this will do is make that folder and copy everything into it from downloading it. So we'll give that a minute. And let's see, yeah, so you can't do anything while it's importing, you just have to wait. So depending on your internet connection and your computer, it might take a minute or two to download it and set up the folders here. After I download this, there is one change I need to make in one of the source code files, and that has to do with a library change that happened. So if we look on the very bottom here, after it imported, it's giving me a kind of a red message. So this shouldn't happen. This is happening currently, given the version of Unity I have and the version that the assets have been supported up to. And so they say 2018.4.1 is the least supported version. And so still for between 2018 and 2019.4, there's been a change. And so we need to update this one file that it's talking about, so we can get rid of that error message. So we're going to do that really quick. So if I look under Assets, Standard Assets, Unity Simple Activator menu, let's see, I can find now under here, Utility, Standard Assets, Utility. I can go into this folder. So Standard Assets, Utility. I'm looking for Simple Activator menu. So this file right here. And if I double click it, it should open up in my VS Code or Visual Studio Code editor. And it's going to point at the things that are causing a problem. And so I can hover over this first one, and it says that GUI text is obsolete. So the replacement will be UI.text. And so this has to do with a change to the Unity API somewhere. So we're just going to change that really quick. So using Unity engine.ui. So that's the library or the namespace we need to include. And then I'm going to change this one to text. So I could do it that way. I could also not include that and just say UI.text right here. And that should, or a Unity engine. .ui.text. That also works to do it that way. So save that, and when I go back to Unity here, that error should be resolved. So I should not see any errors in the console. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is disable our main camera, because we only need one camera in our scene, and go under the standard assets to characters, first person character, prefabs, and grab the FPSController and just drop it into your hierarchy. And once I drop it in, I'll see it show up in my scene here, and I can place it somewhere. And when I hit play, I should now have control over walking in my world, like so. And if I walk off the edge, I'll fall forever. So watch. So if I look up, I can kind of see my cube up there disappearing. So to fix that, I would just go and increase the size of my world here. Maybe make these 10 by 10, or however big your world should be. And so when I walk around, by default, I'm walking around on a plane. So you can dig into the first-person controller on the right side here in the inspector and see other ways to customize it. You can change the sounds, you can change the walking sounds, the footstep sounds, the landing sounds, jumping sounds. There's more. The files are located under here, and there's even more files and effects and stuff under the standard assets. So I recommend exploring that. But that's basically all you need to do. That's the setup. Once you build a scene and you start configuring this more for VR and on a Windows machine that runs Steam VR, you will basically just replace this camera with the Steam VR camera rig, and you would essentially disable this like that and say this was the Steam camera. You re-enable the camera that you need. So hopefully that's helpful, and let me know if there's any questions.